takeoff.
We are cleared for takeoff.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
This is the place where real dialogue matters. It is time to take flight with Audio Airstrike.
What's up, everybody? I'm Everett Hall-McNeill. This is Audio Airstrike, and we thank you for listening to another episode. So I want to kind of clear the air on some things. So as some of you have noticed, I have taken a break, a little bit of a sabbatical from podcasting. The reason being is I had to gather my thoughts. I had to get myself in the right mindset. I just had to take a break. But I'm back now. So with me at this time to bring you another episode, and also I want to say this before we really get into it. For those that have been listening to the past 230 plus episodes that we have done, thank you so much. For those of us who have enjoyed, each episode, each time, each laugh, each serious topic, all that type of stuff, we appreciate it. Moving forward, we're going to kind of focus on kind of the effects of pop culture still, but with a twist. And this twist is based off a decision that I made due to the number of times he has come on the show, also due to the fact he has brought something to the table that does pique my interest, and I'm curious as to see where it goes from here.
That's a nasty way of describing it, don't you think?
Right, yeah, and a
Don't
lot of
pique,
ways.
pique
Pause.
I shouldn't
Pause.
pique your interest, bro. Relax.
Pause.
But I am happy to be here.
They'll be doing a YouTube documentary on me trying to
That's what I'm
assassinate
saying.
my
I was
character.
gonna say it did sound Diddy-ish.
No, don't put that jacket.
I was gonna say it kind of did.
God Almighty, don't put that on my jacket. Please don't.
You know, I hear that on like a Netflix documentary where they're like, "You've piqued my interest," and then like,
for the past 30 years of my life,
yeah.
thank be to God, I've kept a decent reputation, so I'm not trying to ruin it here. But in any way, shape, or form, I want you guys to. You guys have seen him before multiple times this year on these episodes, but officially, he is the temporary co-host of Audio Airstrike. This is the first time I've had a co-host outwardly in this role since 2018. Ladies and gentlemen, you know him, gloves up and coming commentator, up and coming on-air personality. Jacob Cooperman is with us, also a comedian as well. For those of you who have seen him in previous episodes, you have seen glimpses of that.
You think so?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah,
something.
that's true.
Dude,
True.
The thing is that I've been trying to go up on stage for a minute. I got my eyes locked on this Friday at the Art and Barrel Room, but I've done 5 open mic sets. Does that really make me a comedian?
I mean,
I know I'm somewhat funny.
At this point, you're actively pursuing it. So it ain't
That's
like
fair.
it's not like you're just sitting here going, "Oh, well, I hope I didn't." No, you actively pursuing this. Like, this ain't like when you go up there, I feel like when you start going up there like 5 or more times.
That's true. Yeah, 5 more times. That makes you kind of
you starting to get.
You get grandfathered in for sure. Yeah. So
yeah, you start to get into it. Once you start doing that more than like 5 to 10 times, it's like, okay, you're really trying to make something out of this.
yeah,
I feel like
fair. I piqued your interest.
Pause.
What about me?
Even though I said it first, pause.
I know.
That's definitely got to be a pause.
So funny. Dude.
Yeah, that is crazy.
Oh my god, it's not that crazy.
I apologize.
Well, honestly, can we talk about that? New York, Baltimore. Why do we feel the need to incessantly pause everything? Piqued my interest. Sure, that sounds a little bit kind of AO, but that doesn't need to be paused. But why did both our minds went there, didn't it?
I think
the
way and correct me if I'm wrong, y'all. If somebody who proclaims himself as a straight male, says something that is not so straightish,
that's a pause.
That's a pause,
right? But
if it was a dude that was, not straight, we wouldn't even be saying pause. It would be it'd be no point of pausing.
Well, I think we have the parameters of what a pause is.
Right.
But what I'm trying to the issue that I'm trying to tackle right now with our platform, which is a great way to start off this partnership on the podcast, is what constitutes, what's the volume of pauses that we can, because if we're throwing out a pause, there's been some times where we've thrown out maybe 2 or 3 pauses in one conversation. Now, I will say I'm usually the usual suspect. I'm the guy that's throwing out a lot of pauses, or getting a lot of pauses thrown on me because I just say a little bit slightly fruity stuff sometimes. But my question, the question I want to pose, you let us know down in the comment section below. When does it becomes too many pause? Like, if you say something, it could be something like, you know, yo, Ev, I had so much fun last night. You know what I'm saying? That might be like a, whoa, pause, right? But like, where do we draw the line?
Well, I look at it like this. When you pause in every other sentence, it's like, come on, you know when something sounds crazy. Like, you ain't got to pause every little sentence that you do. That's when it's kind of like, no offense. When you have to kind of do that.
No offense
like,
meant.
Yeah, you're almost like, I got to watch what I say because they will come at me in a freestyle. When that's the. I don't want no smoke with these two. I'm just using that as an example. I don't want, for the record, I don't want no smoke with these two. Period. When Cameron and Mace pause everything,
they're funny though. That like,
it's comedic when they do it. But really if we do it, I feel like we're doing it too much.
That's true. Yeah, and that kind of proves my point that I was going to, where it's like there's a certain way in which it seems like it's more acceptable to do a pause in a higher volume, and it's less acceptable in a lower volume or a higher volume. I don't think we have a lot of defined pause rules, pause regulations, if you will.
I mean, there's been 5-6 years. You watch other people, you just kind of know the rules. It's kind of like unspoken rules at this point.
It is true. Yeah, that's true. I mean, you really it's like, don't say stuff that'll get paused, I guess.
Yeah, and also you got to be careful these days that you don't say anything that could get you in a divorce. Because I want to talk about this topic, and it's been something that I've always wanted to talk about. Now, look, I know that I am single. I know that I have the least amount of experience when it comes to marriage. But I have to give my opinion on this because I'm just curious about it. So I have always envisioned somewhere down the line, I would like to be married. I would like to have kids one day. I would definitely like that. Yeah. I have no issues or problems with that. What concerns me is the level of just casual approaches and attitudes towards marriage. Like, I think at one point, people were on the idea that marriage is a commitment, and I'm probably going to be with this person for the remainder of my life. Let me do what I can to build this marriage where it needs to be. A marriage is not safe. A marriage is not, it's not some easy track that you just go on. There's going to be some challenges within the marriage that forces you to grow in ways that you didn't think was possible. So when I sit over there and I look at that, so for example, we have gotten news that J-Lo and Ben Affleck divorced.
Yeah, but
now,
I'll get into that in a second.
Yeah, but I will say this. I ain't gonna lie. Every time I hear J-Lo get married, I'm like, how long is this gonna last?
Well, that's the thing too. It's like, are we gonna use? I think we have to be careful here, in that we're not gonna use celebrities as the what's call it the bar, or like the metric or the temperature for what makes a good marriage, because all that, like, I think we were talking about that last podcast, which I don't know when that's going to come out and this is going to come out, but the last episode, where it's like, if you have a relationship, or maybe we were talking about it off mic, you have a relationship that's in the public eye, that's, I mean, the odds are stacked against you, because there's going to be people, especially, J-Lo and Ben Affleck, two good-looking people, two, like, really aesthetically pleasing people. You're going to have people being like, wow. Think about this, right? You're with your wife in public. There's people constantly taking pictures of you, constantly talking about your partner and talking about how sexy they are and how you don't deserve them. And then there's people speculating on what every single little disagreement between you two is. I mean, the amount of strain that adds. So I also think we need to be careful, not necessarily that you were, but we got to be careful about quantifying a healthy relationship in the media versus a healthy relationship in just, everyday life. And I also take it a step further. Zendaya and Tom Holland seem to have like a really, at least from what I've seen, which again, we don't know the full story, but like a healthy enough relationship. They don't really broadcast their stuff out like that.
Yeah, because you Bama's is nosy and all up in each other's business. If I was Tom Holland and Zendaya, I wouldn't tell y'all nothing either. Yeah, y'all nosy. Y'all are like, oh, and it's like they just have to. They just, oh, we got to see something. Media, you are not obligated to get into these celebrities' lives. Sorry to tell you, TMZ.
The people on Instagram too, dude, that like they ship Instagram, or they ship relationships. People on Instagram ship relationships, that ship couples, that it's like, oh my God, did you see what? It's like, no, I clock in at 9 a.m. I don't have time for all that. I'm moving around. I'm working.
You know the sad part about that is they ship people just to watch them shipwreck, and then they'd be the same ones talking about them.
Talk to him, Ev.
That's how they act.
Talk to him.
That's how they act. I'm tired of
Hold
this.
on, Ev.
Like, either are we at a point in our lives? Do we want to see people really make it, or are we just want to see them really make it just to get news and headlines on the fall of this relationship or the fall of that one, or take two names, put it together, but then y'all 6, 24, 48 months down the line going to be sitting over there throwing up a newspaper article with the broken heart emoji. Like, come on, man.
You know what? It's funny. It's like, I don't even think it's about making it or not making it. I think it's just about, you ever watch like OBX? I think a big reason that show is so successful is because you have these really attractive people that are going through relationship struggles. It's fun to watch aesthetically pleasing people interact with each other. That's why Love Island's really popular, right? So I don't even think it's about making it or not making it. It's just about the little arguments, the little scandals, the little, like, everyone. A lot of people don't have lives. That's what I realized. A lot of people don't have lives, and it's fun to fill up their liveless lives with that stuff, with stuff like Ariana Grande, who she's dating, who, like, one thing I'm actually pretty curious about is where, like, I need to figure out what Pete Davidson's doing that I'm not doing, because for the life of me, I can't think of how that man keeps. But like, stuff like that, people love to eat it up and kind of have it be all over their screen, because for them, it's giving them that, I think it's called a parasocial relationship, where they have like a connection to this person that they've never met over the internet. It's giving them the life that they kind of vicariously want. I think that's a big part of it.
Yeah, and I gotta say this for the record, Pete, I don't really have any problems with you. You don't know me. I don't
I have
know
a problem
you.
with him.
But
save some for the rest of us.
Please, for the love of God, find a committed relationship where it's not transactional. Please. That's all I ask.
I don't really care what
That's
he does.
all I ask. Hey, look,
What are
the
we gonna
reason
say?
why I'm telling him that, the reason why I'm kind of saying this out loud is because I am getting tired of these casual, there's no definitions to anything. We're going to go with the flow. We're going to call it something for press and for, superficial reasons. And there's no standard. There's no guidance. There's none of that.
Have you telling me that if you were able to bag, what type of run is he on right now? He bagged Kim Kardashian. He bagged who? Madison, who is it? Madison Klein?
Don't matter. Did he put a ring on them? Is there kids? Is there like something he can pass down the trip? Like, this is what I'm talking about. I'm talking about.
But you're acting like you're telling me if you had a start, because, hey, Pete, I have a little bit, like, again, save some for the rest of us. He is absolutely, for some reason, I think it's because he's funny. I think women just enjoy a nice vibe, and the kind of vibe that you cultivate being funny. I think that's really basically what it is.
He's fun to be around.
And he's not like an ugly guy, but he's not the level of, he's on my level of looks. Like, he's not.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He shouldn't really be getting to the upper echelon. If you really think about it, I mean, come on now. Like, if I figured I had any shot with any of the people that he dated, you know what? Maybe he's above me. Listen, all I'm saying,
he just comes in the ninth inning out of nowhere, just hitting home runs out of nowhere.
I don't know, because I can't figure out what else it is. I base off the fact that I don't think I'd have realistically a shot with any of those women, unless I was funny or I had money. I don't know. But the thing is that I forgot what I was gonna say. Oh yeah, you're telling me that you wouldn't. That's Kim Kardashian. That's Madison Bear or whatever, whoever he's been with.
I understand
Phoebe
that,
Dwemenar or something.
But
You
see,
gotta
my
experience
my thinking is different, right?
Yeah.
Some people would do that for the thrill. That thrill has an expiration date.
Oh, for sure. For him, it seems to be every 3 months.
That's at some point, like, he ain't getting any younger. Like, find the one that's actually for you. Yeah, you can be fun, but like, at some point, dog, it's like, all right,
He'll figure it out.
Please figure it out.
Well,
Please.
also, then,
I'm pulling for him. I ain't even hating on him.
So you know what's crazy?
Please figure it out.
You know what's crazy is right now, Ev, we're doing what we've really just widely panned people for doing not mere moments ago. We're speculating about this guy's relationship, or relationships.
All I'm saying is
whoever he's on
I'm
now.
speaking positive. I didn't say he was out. I didn't say he was out here, acting like a whole slut and stuff like that. I think
that's what you insinuated.
I'm not insinuating anything. All I'm saying is I'm actually encouraging him. I'm not in no way, shape, or form saying he's out here being a slut or a hoe or just going out here doing all but God knows what. That I don't know if he is or isn't. That's not. I don't have a heaven or hell to put him in. However, what I'm saying is that whatever he's trying to find in these relationships, I hope it's something that's genuine long term and not just for the moment. Well, because there's so many people doing that. It's like, at what point are we gonna take? Okay, you don't even have to be married. You don't have to be ready for a marriage now, but just a long term committed relationship.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, and to be fair, I'm looking up his. Let's see, his complete David. Well, this isn't even up to date. I mean, okay. So we've got Ariana Grande in there, Phoebe Devenar. I think I'm saying Devenar, something like that. There is no reason that he should be. There's also a really large list. Carly Aquilino. I don't know who that is. Cassie David. Don't know who that is. But all these women are really good looking. Ariana Grande. Kate Beckinsale. Okay. See, but January to April 2019. Margaret Qualley. Wow. Okay. Kaya Gerber. Don't know who that is.
Man, you digging into his whole roster.
Phoebe Dude, it's impressive. We're at like 5 people. Kim Kardashian.
Oh, my goodness.
It's impressive. Emily Ratajkowski. I forgot. See, Pete's got bangers. Pete's got a discography of songs that you even forgot about.
I don't care how many hits he got. He could have more hits than Lil Wayne in terms of roster. That's not my point.
And to top it all off, Madison Klein. That's
right,
7 or 8 very good-looking women. But I see what you mean, Ev, and where it's like, at some point, if you're going, and I'll be the one to say it, that's man whore numbers. I think that's like a relationship man whore number type of deal. Like there's something obviously there where it's maybe he can't be alone, or honestly, again, like if I were in his position, I can't say as I would do differently. I got to be honest. But it does come to a point, I do agree with you, it does come to a point where if you're Pete Davidson, you're like, all right, well, now, at what point am I going to stop with like the 4 or 5 month relationships? Or in general, like I've had a time where I was going crazy, was going buck wild, and now it's kind of like, now I'm getting back to that a little bit, I'm not even going to lie to you, but there probably will be a point where I'm like, okay, when do we start to get more like love in our lives,
No,
loving relationships.
No, I definitely agree. That's my whole point with this, man. Because I'm sitting over here looking at, for example, I just realized this. I think, let me look this up. I think I've realized, hold on. Good thing we pre-record and we can edit all this. Let me look this up real quick.
Pete David, damn, he's been going crazy.
So there's another, like for example, there's another actor, and I ain't gonna pry into his personal life. Yeah. For those of y'all who were coming up in the 90s, y'all know him. Joey Lawrence. So him and his current spouse, well now ex-spouse, Samantha Coop, there are divorce rumblings going around and stuff like that. Look, whatever is happening, the problem that is going on is we see all this stuff happening and people look at some of this stuff from that other side of Hollywood or public figure persona, and then some of them are adapting it into their regular life as the way to move. And I don't think that is the way to move because they are in a different,
obviously,
a different type of aura and a different type of deal, because what they are dealing with is finite relationships. I encourage everybody, like, it's okay to be inspired by certain celebrities to a degree, but don't take everything that they do as gospel and then try to apply it to your life. If it's something that's actually going to improve you, from a physical standpoint, from a mental health standpoint, okay, I absolutely agree. I think Pete Davidson is very, very genuine and outspoken about his mental health that he deals with from time to time. I appreciate him for doing it. I am not going to sit over here and necessarily follow his tactics in finding chicks.
I think every guy's gonna have that Pete Davidson method at one point in their life, dude.
But I'm just using that example. I ain't hating on. I'm just saying there's some things that I can appreciate a public figure for doing, and there's some things I just can't rock with.
I think you could honestly, and I'm kind of like memeing here a little bit. I think you should be able to as a guy, or not even be able to, but if you're presented with the option to live that Pete Davidson lifestyle, I don't think it's a bad thing as long as you're safe and you're practicing safe sex about it to kind of navigate that world of going out, talking to women and gaining, because I've said this on past podcasts and I'll say it again, even with now my kind of upgraded viewpoint on relationships. I think, for lack of a better term, sleeping around, as long as you're, again, doing it safely, I think it can yield certain social benefits in terms of confidence, right? Because guys, and I'm not saying that it comes from a good place, right, or a solid foundation, but guys, a lot of what we base our confidence off of is our ability to court women, because I think part of that's biological, right? Like, we're hardwired to want to have sex with women, reproduce, right? And for as much as I hate the red pill when they talk about a high value man and a guy that, like, there is something to the idea that if you can develop the people skills to go around and be charismatic and charming, I think those are two things that through courting women and being outgoing and social, because, again, to talk to women, that's like one of the most tough social things you could do, is dealing with rejection. You get past that, and it kind of, you realize that all other social interactions, right, I think they become a little bit easier. That's just me, right? So I think there is some merit, like, not that having sex with more or less women makes you more of a man. I don't think that's necessarily true at all. You could have one really faithful woman in your life and be twice the man that a man that has had sex with 11 women and his wife has had, or vice versa.
I've seen it in real life, so I know.
But like, the man that has had sex 11 times in his life could also be half the man or twice the man that a man that's had one good faithful one. There's so much variability. But what I will say is that, Pete Davidson's clearly doing something right. And while we shouldn't look at celebrity relationships, it's I feel like maybe we're arguing. We're not arguing, but we're like talking about two different points here. I agree with you in that, like, if you're watching this, don't look at a celebrity's relationship, because they're just we mentioned this at the beginning of the show, they're just in a different echelon for what flies for them, how they get into relationships. Like, celebrities will just meet at some random yacht party. You're not meeting people at a yacht party. Where nobody's as attractive as celebrities. So throw all that shit out the window.
Well, I ain't gonna go that far. I didn't see some fine-looking women that weren't celebrities.
Oh, that's fair. I mean, I don't know, but I'm just saying, like, you're not gonna meet that density of like, I'm sure a celebrity party, probably one of the most attractive parties on the planet. If you know what I'm saying, like per square inch, the amount of attractive people that attend those parties versus a regular party.
Those parties do bring a certain aura, but I'm gonna be honest with you, all that is temporary. Like.
Yeah, well, and that's what I'm saying. Is like they live kind of more of a physical, and
all of it is surface level
optics.
In my personal opinion, I look at some of these celebrity parties and I sit there and go, "Y'all got more plastic in y'all than Toys R Us."
Yeah. What about Diddy's part now?
Oh, jeez.
You take for example Diddy's party, right? I mean,
why are we even talking about him at this podcast?
Take it, because that's why I'm here. That's what piques your interest. I bring the X factor, pal. My God. I've been really spouting some absolute. All I think Ev and I are saying is that you shouldn't look to these relationships that celebrities are having just in the same way that you probably shouldn't. Like, I look at some of the aspects, but like, there's certain things about my parents' relationship that I would throw away. Where it's like, I think the next generation, the older generations would be more likely to hold on to a relationship if it's going down, right? There's something to be said for holding on to a relationship when it's, there's some rocky issues, but there's love there. But I think some of what the older generation will do is, even if it's just going to like multiple cheats and it's really the ship is sinking, they'll still hold on. Stuff like that. Maybe you look at a relationship like that and you say, I'm not going to hold on to that. I think what we're saying is you should do the same thing with celebrity relationships, Where it's like, if J-Lo gets divorced for the 5th time, and it's funny too, because we talked about the Instagram people that are like, oh my God, I can't believe it. It's like, of course. You know, what are you expecting? I love how those people treat those relationships as if they're just like any other relationship. And like, Ben Affleck hasn't been in 16 other divorces in his life. What are we talking about? We're not talking about anything. Focus on your own relationships. And the realistic ones will be the ones where, you know, you meet someone and it's tough because you maybe move in with them and then you realize they shit with the door open and it's an entire thing. Maybe they like they chew food too loud and then you got to deal with that. That's like the real relationship stuff that you don't get from living a Pete Davidson lifestyle. Boom.
Yeah, I mean, I get what you're putting down. How I feel about
taking what I'm putting down. That's crazy.
Okay, yeah, that's definitely a pause.
Yo, Ev, you've been on a historic run today, my guy. That's nuts. Sorry, go ahead, man.
Yeah, that I really don't. I really don't grasp the casual type stuff. I shouldn't say I don't grasp it. To a point, I get it. It's less responsibility, less you got to worry about. Very minimal effort on connection to a degree. I think there's still an effort of connection that you have to do.
Yeah.
The one thing and the reason why I'm adamant about this particular stance is because I've seen so many people's emotions get played with off of not defining certain things. There's some people, man, I kid you not. I know, and I'm not putting no names on blast. No names. There's some people that I know, they should be together right now. But because definitions weren't sought out well, it was a little bit too casual. There wasn't like a definite, hey, we are a thing. It causes people to overthink. Next thing you know, they sitting over there mad at the person because they did not express definitions, true feelings, holding in stuff of that nature. So that's what I'm saying. Like, casual, I guess, for some people it's cool. It ain't really my thing. But at some point, like, as a society, like, we have to start thinking about, like, I see people now that get married, and I'm like, I'm really pulling for them because what they're about to go and embark on is not easy. So, for example, me as somebody with the religious beliefs that I had, marriage is one of them things that is a gift from God. So, the way that I look at it, I look at marriage with like a certain level of reverence. So the way that I look at that stuff is, it's like, okay, this is something to be taken seriously. These two people are becoming one. They are going to start potentially a family, a whole life together. It is never. All of this is not going to really be the same. There's adjustments that they're going to have to make. And if they do follow certain religious beliefs, they're going to have to put God first in their relationship. Now, we know, ideally, we know for a fact, that's not everybody across the board. Not everybody's religious that gets married. However, even if you're not religious and you're getting married, there is a certain level of deep commitment that you have to have with that person. Even if it's a long-term relationship that you can see that person being your wife and your husband one day.
Absolutely.
There is a long-term commitment that you got to have. Now, the issue is, what happens is, and I hate saying this, and I'm noticing this, there are people, if they see one thing wrong, two things wrong, it could be the most minimal thing. It could be something that could be easily corrected. I'm done. I'm gone.
It's also I think the other thing too, the other side of it is, you talk about casual relationships not really having boundaries. I think that's true with any relationship. Now, a lot of what I've seen in marriages today as well, just from the friends that, well, not the friends that we have, because they're all in very happy and healthy relationships, but I've seen certain instances of relationships or marriages where boundaries are not really respected. And then you ended up with, like, I think, because for me, open relationships, you have to be really, I'm not trying to force the topic of open relationships, but it's just an example that comes to my head. Like, that's something where a wife of a friend we know had talked about it on my podcast, where it's like, a lot of guys or girls, their partner will say, oh, I want this. And then it's like, oh, well, I can't, my boundaries, I've never really defined them. I'm not really comfortable defining them. So I say yes. And then that ends up, a lot of marriages as well these days get messed up because there's not. So, like, for instance, you brought up the point of really, really solid boundaries, and that leading to sometimes something where, yeah, one or two things that like cross your boundaries go wrong, and then you're like, oh, I'm out of here. There's also the other end of that too, where it's like, yeah, I've never ever set a boundary in my life, and now my partner is, I don't know, going out to drinks with a coworker, and I don't feel cool about that, but I've never set the boundary. I don't feel comfortable setting a boundary. And then I'm going to just start to slowly resent this person until I cheat, and then it's a whole thing. So it really, I mean, there's two sides to every coin, but absolutely to what you said, like, there is a lot of people just I mean, and I'm a casual boy right now. So I'm the casual correspondent for this show. You call me that from now on. The casual correspondent. And I will say, I just had a girl the other day tell me we had scheduled to like hang out, and she goes, yeah, I mean, I'm hanging out with a guy. Or no, sorry. I've been seeing someone, and I don't really know how I feel about him, so I should probably end it before we see each other. Would you be okay if I hit you up after the fact? I was like, yeah, don't bother. But that's the craziest thing is that people.
You know what I call that? Dazed and confused.
And it's a lack of boundaries, or it's even a lack of like adhering to her own boundaries, because she said like, yeah, I'm not really the type of person to like talk to two people at once. You've already done that. Right?
Yeah.
So like in relationships everywhere, there just seems to be either, and I've seen it on the other side too, where it's like casual relationships. I'm trying to think of why someone did it, or maybe why I did it, honestly. I mean, there's been certain things where you just don't hear from someone for weeks, and then you hit them up and you're like, why did you ghost me? And she's like, I just didn't like the way you did this thing. And I'm like, why didn't you just tell me? Like, it could have been a resolved thing where I corrected my behavior to you if I felt like that's something I wanted to do. I don't know. I think it's relationships across the board, right? Not just marriage. Because marriage is something that's sanctimonious, but marriage is something that comes at the end of a long factory line of different things for a lot of people.
I hate to say it, but I think people have become so accustomed to I'd rather just ghost you, not talk to you, than try to explain what you did wrong or try to problem solve.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
I
absolutely.
Think
it's easier, though.
Yeah, it's so much easier. You're only in my life for like a week, 2 weeks, and I can easily forget you.
Yeah. I mean, that's the reality of the world. Like, sometimes it's cold.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I got my disagreements with that because it's like at least have that talk and be like, look, I didn't like it when you did this, so this is why.
Well, how much?
I will say, with some people, if they're not mature enough to have that conversation. Okay, that's a whole other story.
Well, also, what's the amount of time do you think would be appropriate to where they wouldn't have to? Because I can think of like
I feel like after like if you haven't talked to that person in months, I think you already got your answer.
Well, no, I'm saying like if you see someone for a week, do you think you owe it to that person to necessarily like you could do it? I see. Here's my argument: is I think it would be nice.
Do you think it depends on the person you're talking to? Based on the person,
it could depend on the person you're talking to. It could depend on the circumstances too. I mean, like if I was casually seeing a girl and we didn't get deep or intimate after sex, right? Like, so for instance, I would go over to her place, we would do stuff, and I don't have relationships like this. Like usually, if I'm going to casually see someone, I'd like it to be someone that I know and can talk to after the fact, so I don't have to be like, your Uber's outside. I don't like. What were you about to? You're about to get out of here, right? Like, that's kind of crazy. Yeah, Jake, it's 2 a.m. I mean, I don't know what to tell you, pal. I don't like to do that. I like to talk to people after.
Yo threw her out like she was past due on the rent.
I know. Also, God. It's wild. Me saying I like to talk to her after, as if that makes me like a good guy. I do like to have conversations with her after the fact, but like, no, I mean, I'm gonna treat someone like a human being. So, and usually, like, you'll get into, because after you've just been naked with someone, the only place to go is deep. No dating, of course. But, like, you have deep conversations after the fact there. Hold on.
Pause.
No, I'm trying to say,
just joking.
If you get naked with someone and you're doing that intimate act, the conversations I find that follow are usually on the more emotional side of the spectrum. Because you were just very vulnerable with someone. I'm fine with that. But if you have a relationship where it's like, all right, like, do you want to Hello? Yeah, you want to come over tonight? Sure, yeah. I only have like 40 minutes. Cool? All right, done. Like, I've had relationships like that before. And do you owe those people necessarily an explanation as to why you weren't feeling it? No. I would probably just say, hey, I'm not feeling this anymore.
Well, I guess you weren't feeling it anymore because it was a very surface level, like...
But that's what I'm saying. At what point does it cross over in your perspective into I have to let this person know why they made me feel the way? Because
this is just my opinion. If it was that surface level, I wouldn't even bother.
That's what I'm saying. I think there are some relationships, and I'm almost allergic to having those types of relationships because I am, of course, a lover boy at heart. But I feel like there are certain relationships where you're not. There's not like a contract owed to that person. It's like it's consensual using of each other almost. Like, I'm getting something out of you, you're getting something out of me. It's a business deal.
Yeah, but I mean, at the end of the day, it temporarily fills a void that you're gonna have to go to the next person or to that same person to try to get, and it really doesn't fill a void over time. So over time, people can say what they want. Over time, people want a genuine connection and a long-term relationship. They can say whatever they want. They can say, "Oh, I forget these dudes, forget these girls. I'm doing me, da 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 da," and you keep doing that for a long extended period of time, you're going to be bitter and alone. Nobody wants to be bitter and alone. Nobody wants to be through that. So take the time you need to heal. Take the time that you need to get your stuff together. It's okay to be single for a minute. It's okay not to be around anybody. It's okay not to be out here just having casual relationships. Take the time to get better. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. After my relationship, I took the time. I think it took 5 months to be on my own.
You got to.
And now I'm back into it, baby.
You got to.
Pause. Back into it?
I don't think there's a pause for that.
See, we might be abusing the pause a little bit more now.
I don't think it's a pause.
That's a pause level moment. Yeah, that's. I mean, excuse me. That's not a pause level moment.
I don't think it's a pause. No. Not for that. No, I don't think that's a pause level moment at all.
I'm back into it. Classic.
But, that's the thing. And I've seen people, the reason why I'm kind of having this conversation, because I see so much of that, like, even with people my age.
Yeah.
Where it's like.
Also, did you tell the audience the age gap that we have?
So as of this moment, you's not about to put me in a senior citizen home and say there's a 27-year gap between us.
27 years, dude. Now I'm 24.
No, it's not. No, it's not. I'm not sitting here like 50, 60 some years old.
It's
We're
20,
not doing
20 years, yeah.
Whatever. So, you're how old?
I'm 24.
Okay, you're 24.
How old are you again?
I'm 33. I'll be 34 in November. And I swear to God. You talking like, okay, there's like roughly a 9 to 10 year gap between us.
That's crazy if you think about it. I'm just fucking, yeah. I'm going to get my ass beat after the cameras get turned off.
No, I'm going to just look at you like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, no. That's not actually that big of a difference.
One day, some 18-year-old is going to look at you when you're my age and look at you like you old. It's going to happen.
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, I'm sure
because I did the same thing when I was 18. I was like, oh, you 35, 34, you old. Yeah,
that's okay. Not, yeah. Well, not to get, sorry, I'm derailing the conversation.
No, I'm just saying. But, like, this is the thing. I see, like, relationships, especially from my age or my generation. I think there's a lot of people that have been through, whether it's casual, whether it's open, whether it's traditional, whether it's any way that you look at the structure of the relationship that some people of my generation have been, there always has been that moment of, with some people, oh, I'm bitter, forget all these people, da 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 da. I'm going at all y'all subliminally on post, and I'm like, just take that time to, okay, obviously you were upset and you gave your all to this one person, being younger and, being more willing to throw it out there, but don't be so bitter to the point that you can't open yourself up to somebody that actually is going to treat you with the same level of respect. That's literally the advice I give people, especially my age, especially people around my age, because you've just been through so much.
Yeah, but I feel like also dating gets easier when you're in your 30s.
Woo!
Yeah, I knew it. I knew it. I knew that I was going to bring in the hot take bomb.
No, it don't.
I think it does.
It does not.
Jake, the psychopaths running around at my age?
Jake,
you've heard.
Does not get
because we're not going to do this. We're not going to, because you've heard some of the stuff that women have said to me. It does. I think it does.
It does not get easier.
You've heard some of the stuff women have said to me at this age, man.
I could probably find somebody. Now, mind you, I could probably find somebody that is mature at your age, and I could probably find somebody that is still immature at my age.
Yeah, of course. That's the way like life works.
But for you to say that it gets easier, I don't know about that.
I think it does. Because think about it like this, right? You have so many young people running around right now. Most of the women I talk to aren't really looking for, and maybe, okay, you could make an argument that that's who I'm attracting because that's kind of the mode that I'm in as well. For sure, I'll give you that. But I feel like once you're in your 30s, people are a lot more tame. Like, it's not, you don't have to worry, you don't have to contend with them going out to a nightclub, meeting someone else. You know, I don't, listen, maybe I'm spouting shit, but like, it seems like you've been on a lot more real and genuine dates where y'all talked about what your life, I was gonna say life expectancy.
Yo, said life expectancy. This man's trying to push me over the hill, literally. This man's literally trying to push me over the hill. Get your AARP card and all that. Yeah. Just roll me into the senior citizens home.
I was going to say, you're an assisted facility, right? No, dude, I'm saying, but like, I've heard you go on many more dates where it's like, okay, there's a lot, like, what am I talking about on the dates that I go on? You want to hear? It's, oh, what do you do? Oh, what do you do? Okay, yeah, what do you do for fun? I like to go out and like hit the clubs and like drink on the week. And I'm like, oh, okay, I like to, like work out and work on my stuff on the weekends. Oh, that's so cool. What do you do? Oh, yeah, I do a little commentary on the side. I do like, content online and stuff. Oh, wow. So you're like an influencer? Oh, no. And then there's like a 50% chance that they might just become uninterested after that happens. Like, I think in your 30s, you were telling me about that woman you went on the date with where, you guys were discussing what you wanted for marriage. Maybe, is that saying too much?
I mean, yeah, you do have those conversations.
Yeah, but like, I'm not having that conversation. Like, it seems like maybe people in their 30s get straight more to the point. I think there's a lot more of a gray area with younger people my age where, to me at least, okay, you could say maybe it's not 100% easier off the board or across the board. I think in certain areas, dating your 30, like, you're both there to try and get a long-term partner. You don't necessarily know what the women my age are looking for because they're young and they should be allowed to have fun if they want, right? Because they're young and everything. I get that. But there is that extra added variable there that I think makes it a degree of difficulty harder for guys my age.
I mean, yeah, I get your point. And I mean, I definitely understand. But I mean, at the end of the day, like, and maybe I was a little bit harsh earlier, I think it's one of those things, it's a case-by-case basis.
No, we're podding, baby.
I mean, it's a case-by-case basis. Now, I am going to say this.
Yeah, what do you think makes dating in your 30s harder? Because I'm curious to see.
I'll be honest with you, because if you're not, you have to show multiple sides. You have to show a fun side.
Yeah.
You have to, if you come off too serious, they might not be interested in that. You have to show a fun side. Try to keep, keeping the conversation going. I think that,
you've said all the things that I have to do.
True, but here's the thing. In your 30s, like, people have baggage that they have to deal with. I'm not saying that people in their 20s don't, because y'all do.
You caught me. I was about to say
but it's a different level of baggage. Somebody might have kids from a past relationship.
That's true too, yeah.
Somebody may have,
especially
their
around
financial
here.
situation may be different than yours. Like, in your 20s, you can kind of mess up your financial situation and recover.
That's
in
true.
In your 30s, it's going to take a little bit more, depending on the situation. You got that going on. Then you have potentially, let's say, this person is at a different point in their life where, they're not as trusting of men, or they're not as trusting of women. So now you are going into this trying to get to know somebody
out there with the sharks,
but in the back of their brain, they done been through the ringer. And I'm not talking about people they slept with. I'm talking about just dating the wrong people. And then you come in and then you going to catch a couple strays. Not because anything to do with you, but because they've dealt with so much. So you have to be a mature adult and be like, and be honest with yourself. Am I ready to take this on or am I not? If I'm not, I have to remove myself, but try to do it in the best way possible. I know it's a case-by-case basis, but trying to do it that way. I think that there is a little bit more grown complications with dating in your 30s that everybody at that age range is still trying to figure out.
For sure, yeah. I mean, I would also say that, you run into that stuff too with 24-year-olds. I think also what makes it, and I guess my gut instinct too as to why I thought maybe dating in your 30s was a little bit easier was I think people in their 30s are just more considerate because they've been through more life and they've been through more trauma. Some of the shit that I've been told by women my age, man, it's great. I had one girl tell me, I was like, all right, so we're supposed to meet this back when I was in New York. I was like, all right, we're meeting at Grand Central Station. Awesome. Boom, boom, boom. Let's get it going. And she goes, oh, I'm so glad that you decided to bring me out tonight. Like, I love hanging out with medium ugly guys. I was like, I beg your pardon? Like, what are we talking about here? She was like, yeah, she called me medium ugly. Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
I've just gotten some heinous stuff.
She called you the Big Lots of attractive men.
Pretty much, yeah. Like, I'm basically the Dollar General of attractive guys. You can get good stuff at Dollar General. You can get good stuff there. I'm not even lying, dude. Dollar Tree.
I didn't
Walmart?
I did deny it. I've made a Dollar Tree runner at one point. You know what I mean?
I was all over Dollar Tree back in the day when I had a dollar to my name.
Look, college days, Dollar General, Dollar Tree, Roman
came in clutch.
Yeah,
and that's where I did my best work.
Pause.
That's not a pause. Dude.
I'm going to be very biased with this, just a troller.
Yeah, that's crazy. No, I mean, but women my age have definitely. I had one girl tell me I'd make a great gay best friend. That was another one. I was like, damn. I feel like how many levels of the friend zone is that? That's 3 levels removed. Best friend, gay, and then I would make. So you know what I mean? That's like 3 levels of separation.
That's like the girl that will hit you up and be like, "Oh, I'm going out in this tonight with somebody." How does
I had one girl tell me that the other day, and I blocked her. I blocked her. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. We've been hanging out, and she was like, she hit me up. She was like, what do you think about this picture? She sent me a picture. She goes, I just want to see, like, do you think this would make you want to? I'm going out with this guy. Would this make you want to take this off me? I literally told her, I was like, I'm not interested in that, thank you. And I just deaded her.
This stuff you hear will make you want to be like, all right, I'm done with dating for a
But
for
I
a
don't
while.
think you're running into that in your 30s. At least maybe you have, but I haven't. In my 30s.
I got some stories that friends have told me that I'm not going to say on this podcast. I'll probably tell you off air.
Yeah.
But with that being said, hey, man, I appreciate you coming on.
Ev said that's the last that's the last straw. We got to cut it there.
Yeah, but you guys, look, this is kind of how the format's going to be from here on in on Audio Airstrike. Yeah, we're going to crack jokes, laugh, but, we definitely, at the end of the day, we want you guys to just be aware and just be better human beings. This podcast is literally it's just about pointing things out in pop culture that don't make sense and trying to find a rational middle ground. Because there's going to be times, as you've seen on this show, I don't always agree with what my guest or co-host say. So with that being said, I appreciate Jacob for stepping in and being the temporary co-host, and we'll be back again with another episode.
Peace, y'all.
I left you hanging?
Yeah.
Okay. Y'all take care. We'll come back with another one.